Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at this retro card series, Miles Morales Spider-Man, in a costume I've never seen before. I don't know if this is from the comics. I assume it is, but we're going to take a look at it. So we've got the retro card here, looking pretty nice. I love these retro cards. I think they look pretty sweet. Remind me of the old days back when I was a kid collecting action figures, and I love it. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and crack this guy open and see what we've got inside. Alright, so here we have him out of the package. We'll look at accessories first. Not that there's ever that much when it comes to these retro carded figures, but we do get a couple of thwip hands, which I guess is fine. Again, why in that package they can't fit 2 thwip hands and 2 wall crawling hands, I don't know. But I do like the thwip hands as opposed to the wall crawling hands. I pose most of my Spider-Man, including Miles, with thwip hands. So if we're going to get 2 of anything, I do prefer these, I guess. So I guess it is what it is. Now, as far as the figure itself, he looks pretty good, pretty solid. I am completely unfamiliar with this design, but it does kind of remind me of a couple of the designs that were in that Spider-Man Miles Morales game that I played here, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever it was. So it is cool to have, and I really do like Miles Morales as a character. I do like to try and collect all the figures that are made for him. So, I mean, I like it. It is kind of a cool Miles Morales-esque type of figure. Now, it is mostly just molded plastic, but there are some paint details. The red is what the legs are molded in, and so we do have this black paint webbing there over that, which is done well on this. And then, of course, we do have the red on the black here down these stripes. That is painted in along with the eyes themselves. Otherwise, it's pretty much all molded plastic. The logo on the front does look nice and crisp and clean. Logo on the back, same thing, looks nice, well done. I don't see any major paint or sculpt defects on this guy. He looks pretty solid, looks pretty clean, looks pretty good. We do have some nice molded detail there on the feet, which I do like. Of course, this is Hasbro, so they didn't paint any of that detail, but I guess it is what it is. I mean, if you're still collecting modern Hasbro, you know what to expect. So, all in all, paint sculpt look really good. Not great, but really good, and I do like it because it is a fairly cool look for Miles Morales, even with this kind of hoodie thing coming up over his mask. You know, interesting look. Again, I'm not familiar if this is something from the comics or maybe it's from the game. I don't remember. But still pretty cool, and I think consistent with Miles as a character. So I think it works. Now, as far as articulation goes, obviously there are some downsides here because of this whole hoodie thing going on in his upper torso. There is no ab crunch, there is no waist swivel. You do have a dumbbell joint that's about right here. And so you get that swivel up there at the top, but it doesn't provide any forward or back because of the shirt. Now, the shirt is slightly soft plastic, but I really think that should have been like a rubber overlay or something. But of course, that would have cost Hasbro more money, so why would they do that? As far as the articulation on the legs, pretty good. So you've got standard hips that come out to there, double jointed knees, you've got thigh swivels, standard ankles, all that's pretty good. Arms are obviously a little different because of, you know, just the suit itself. So you get the standard ball joints for the shoulders there, and then you have more of this kind of Star Wars Black Series style elbow here where you've got a single jointed elbow, which comes up about that far, and then that's where you've got your swivel right there. Wrists are standard. It is a double ball peg here on the neck, which I just don't like for Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man figures should be a disc hinge, honestly, because he just doesn't really look up at all. And it's, you know, it's Miles. He's Spider-Man. So, I mean, articulation, I guess, is as good as it could be for this particular design, which is fine, but upper half of this body is not great when it comes to articulation. But again, I guess that's kind of what you expect in plastic form. That's what you're going to get. So let's go ahead, throw this guy up with some other figures and see how he stacks up. So, of course, we've got to compare him to as many other Miles Morales figures as we absolutely can. So, of course, we've got the two animated movie Miles here from the first movie and the second movie. And, you know, even though this is supposed to be, I think, more of a comic book representation of Miles as opposed to the animated movies, I think it looks fantastic with these two. It certainly looks like a progression that the character would go through. Roughly the same height, roughly the same design. They all look like they fit into the same universe, and I think in a display this works absolutely fantastic. And of course, to compare them to a couple of older versions of Miles Morales, of course, on the left we've got that kind of more realistic looking, almost MCU-like look of the Gamerverse Miles Morales Spider-Man. And then on the right we've got the older Walmart exclusive from back in, what, 2012 maybe, something like that, maybe 2011. I don't remember when this figure came out. And was that the first Miles we ever got? I don't remember if it was or not, but certainly one of the first, if it wasn't the first one. And it's kind of an older, goofier looking figure. I still love it, but it's kind of an older, goofier looking figure. But I will say that between these three, with the more realistic look of the Gamerverse version and just kind of the goofy nature of the now 10-plus-year-old version of Miles, the one in the middle, as far as sculpt and paint and just how it would fit into a modern collection, I think definitely works better. Now, obviously, with Articulation, these other two figures are far superior to this new Miles, but outside of that, I think it holds up pretty damn well. All right, so let's talk price here real quick. And of course, he comes in at the entry-level price of $25. Question being, is it worth it? It's worth it if you're a Miles Morales fan or a Spider-Man fan and just have to have every Spider-Man figure that you can. Outside of that, I mean, with the articulation scheme, I mean, it's kind of the equivalent of one of these like $10 to $15 more kid-friendly toys. So just from what you're getting strictly from a value standpoint, it's really not worth 25 bucks, to be honest with you. It does not have all the stuff you would want in a more adult collectible type figure. It just doesn't. So it really just kind of depends on where you come down on this. Are you a big Miles Morales or Spider-Man fan? You just have to have it? Cool. For that reason, yeah, absolutely, it's worth it. I am. I bought it. I think it's worth it just to have this guy. But outside of that, just pound for pound value for what you're getting in plastic here, it's really not worth it, to be honest with you. There's just not a lot going on here. And while it's a cool looking design and the paint's done well, what there is of it, it is lacking in a few areas, and that's definitely a problem. So again, it's just going to come down to how much of a fan are you of the character itself. And that's kind of where it boils down. So I'd love to hear what you guys think if you've got this figure. What do you think of him? Do you like him? Do you think it's a decent figure? Do you think they should have figured out a way to get more articulation out of this guy? I certainly do. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think. So as always, guys, thank you for watching, and always remember to enjoy your collection.